July 25th, 2023 regular meeting of the City Council. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Councilmember Harmon?
Here.
Councilmember Frieden?
Here.
Councilmember Oscar Gutierrez?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Alejandro Gutierrez?
Here.
Councilmember Sneddon?
Here.
Councilmember Jordan?
Here.
And Mayor Rouse.
Here. And I believe you have a ceremonial item to read?
Yes, item 1, National Disability Independence Day, July 26, 2023.
All right, it's National Disability Independence Day of July 26, 2023. Whereas 33 years ago, on July 26, 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, was signed into law to ensure the civil rights of people with disabilities. And whereas this legislation established a clear and comprehensive national mandate for the elimination of discrimination against individuals with disability, and whereas this landmark law affirms that Americans with disabilities are Americans first, and whereas the ADA has expanded opportunities for Americans with disability by reducing barriers and changing perceptions and increasing full participation in community life, and whereas we recognize the contributions and progress of Americans with disabilities have made in our community, and whereas the city continues to make improvements to the accessibility in its programs and services, facilities, and public rights of way with the advice and participation of its Access Advisory Committee, and whereas on the 33rd anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, we rededicate ourselves to empowering every individual with those most American principles of equal access and equal opportunity. Therefore, I, Randy Rouse, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Santa Barbara, California, do hereby proclaim July 26, 2023 as National Disability Independence Day in honor of the 33rd anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And is there someone here to receive the proclamation? Mr. Burnham, is that you? All righty, very good. I'm going to give you the microphone.
Mayor Rouse, members of the City Council, members of city staff, ladies and gentlemen. Well read, Mr. Rouse. Thank you so much. And thank you, members of the council, for acknowledging this anniversary of this landmark legislation. My name is Bob Burnham. I am a longtime member, honored to have served on the Access Advisory Committee for the past decade. And whether it is progress made in accessibility for people in wheelchairs with ramps, blue zone, and accessible parking, whether it's truncated domes and audible signals for blind persons to navigate safely through our city streets, whether it's hearing loops and closed captioning systems for people who are deaf. These are just some of the decisions made to increase accessibility for people with various disabilities. And what this decade of service to this committee has done for me more than anything else has made me more aware that disability has a wide range of challenges. And we're just learning about things like dyslexia, developmental disabilities, and those who are somehow and otherwise able to participate regardless of their cognitive or otherwise mental disabilities. We're just learning more about mental illness and the sufferings and the depletions that some of these people face. And hopefully we try to reach out to those people as well. So just to thank you, members of council, city staff, for working towards in developing of new facilities, programs, and services. Thank you. The decisions you make as our local legislative body right here in the city of Santa Barbara, your decisions matter. And I deeply thank you on the behalf of the Access Advisory Committee and the city, those of us citizens in this community who are disabled. Thank you for all that you've done to support us. And in turn, I hope and pray that we support you in working with you together and continue a dynamic civil conversation toward greater accessibility, that we work toward we embrace the idea of universal design, and what else do I say? Increase accessibility in ways that we can't even imagine for all peoples. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Burnham. Appreciate it. And Madam Clerk, there is a proclamation from Mr. Burton, I believe, on the podium. If we make sure he gets that.
Do you need to take that, or that's from? Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Very good. And are there any changes to the agenda?
Mayor Rouse, I believe we have a very special guest that you'd like to have come and address the council and our residents.
Yeah, I'd like to welcome a very special guest today that's coming to visit us, honor us with his presence, the Council de Mexico, Mr. Ricardo Santana. Would you come, please say a few words for us?
Good afternoon. I greet with appreciation the members of the Santa Barbara City Council, and especially to my friend, the Mayor, Randy Rose, and all of the members of the different representations that are here in this room. My name is Ricardo Santana Velasquez, and I am the new Consul of Mexico in the city of Oxnard. And I am interested in giving you all a greetings from Mexico to you, and personally put myself at your services to collaborate in everything that means empowering the Mexican community and all of the friends of Mexico residing in Santa Barbara, Ventura, and San Luis Obispo, California. I am very excited to come to such beautiful city. Is it truly a paradise because of the weather, the beauty, its landscapes, and because I have found a very nice and active and hardworking community that has strengthened the economy of the city of Santa Barbara and California. In my tour to Santa Barbara, Ventura, and San Luis Obispo County, I have had the opportunity to meet the extant community of leaders and workers from Oaxaca, Tlaxcala, Jalisco, Zacatecas, and Michoacán. I mean the Mexican local community. A lot of people working in the fields here that, of course, need the attention, the assistance of the Mexican consulate, among others. But I would like to tell to all of them that the consulate will work very hard to benefit the Mexican people and the friends of Mexico. I come to offer a helping hand and a working hand, a hand that will have the best disposition to work together in many tasks that link Santa Barbara and its community with Mexico. We will serve Mexicans by improving the benefits of the documents that they need, the legal protection that they need, the services like health, education, and financial services through the local specialized agencies, as well as all of the native people from my country that lives here in the county. I would like to congratulate you for the magnificent work that you have done for the city of Santa Barbara. And I would like to tell to you that we have already started working on the celebrations to the Mexican independence festivities of September in the 3 counties. Thank you very much. A hug with affection and the admiration to all of you. Thank you very much.
Very good. We'll move on to the consent calendar. We have some items to read, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Item 3, noise ordinance update, ordinance adoption. Recommendation that council adopt by reading of title only an ordinance of the Council of the City of Santa Barbara amending the municipal code by amending sections 9.16.030 and 9.16080 pertaining to noise. Item 3, loan to Turner Foundation for $457,500 for acquisition of property located at 2011 Oak Avenue. Ordinance introduction and agreement. Recommendation that council A, introduce and subsequently adopt by reading of title only an ordinance of the Council of the City of Santa Barbara approving a loan agreement to the Turner Foundation in the amount of $457,500 for the acquisition of real property located at 2011 Oak Avenue to be used for low-income transitional youth housing to be secured by a deed of trust, and approving a 90-year affordability control covenant imposed on real property and authorizing the Community Development Director to execute such agreements as necessary. Item 4, amendments to the schedule of penalties, fees, and service charges related to downtown parking, water, and wastewater resolution. Recommendation the council adopt by reading of title only a resolution of the Council of the City of Santa Barbara directing the city clerk to correct clerical errors by inserting replacement pages into Resolution 23078 adopted on June 13, 2023, which became effective on July 1, 2023, or as provided therein, and amend the City of Santa Barbara schedule of penalties, fees, and service charges.
All right, very good. Is there anyone on council that needs to pull any item in particular? Ms. Sneddon.
Thank you, Mayor Ross. I'd like to pull item 6 for comment.
Very good. And Mr. Friedman.
I just wanted to speak to item 3, which was already read in.
All right, very good. Okay, with that, may we have then a motion on the items besides 3 and 6 for the balance of the consent? Oh, was anybody online with a pulled item? There's nobody present with one, I know.
Let's see, no hands raised, Mr. Mayor.
I'll get used to our protocols one of these days. Okay, very good. May I have, I'll entertain a motion then on the balance of the consent calendar, absent item 3, absent item 6.
So moved.
So moved by Harmon, second by Friedman. May we have the vote, please?
This is a motion for the balance of the consent calendar accepting items 3 and 6. Motion by Councilmember Harmon, seconded by Councilmember Friedman.
Thank you. That passes unanimously. And with that, we'll have a report from the Finance Committee. Mr. Friedman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So today at the Finance Committee, we approved and recommended the loan to the Turner Foundation, which was item 3 on today's agenda, and that was unanimous. And then we had a discussion on the reserve policy and direction, and we supported the staff recommended changes on the Harbor Preservation Fund and folding that into just the capital fund, and then a discussion on our reserve policy, and we had a number of really in-depth discussion, and we're going to forward that on to council for looking at all the different options that are out there on adjusting the emergency reserve that we have and looking at our funding overall. So that'll be coming up to council. But it was a very a lot of good points were raised, and looking forward to that coming to council.
All right, very good. Thank you. And with that, we will go to public comment, which will be 3 minutes at the podium on any subject that is not on our current agenda but was within the purview of this council. We're going to start out with David Crockett Williams, and I will ask you to note the timer on the podium up there. That will give you the time you have remaining.
Thank you. I want to thank Council Member Oscar Gutierrez for his interest in the story I shared with him last week about ibogaine. This chemical completely stops hard drug addictions without cravings or withdrawals in one intense knock-your-socks-off waking dream experience that lasts for 24 hours. It causes the deep introspection and reflection on the causes and effects of personal decisions, kind of like rewiring the brain and flushing out the mind. Ibogaine comes from the root of an African rainforest vine called the iboga, and it's used in rites of passage rituals. In the indigenous African cultures, it's normally used twice per lifetime, once in the transition from puberty to adulthood, and once in the rite of passage from adulthood to old age. Occasionally, it's used for an exorcism ritual to remove demonic possession, as depicted in the movie called The Rites of Passage on YouTube. Now, I was inspired by the Dalai Lama's birthday party on July 6th at the Unity House. While drumming my prayer for an hour beforehand, I dreamed about how drug addiction and the related child sex trafficking, child sex slavery depicted in the Sound of Freedom movie might be remedied by Ibogaine with mind control psychology. For this dream to come true, to end child trafficking and human slavery within 2 years, as a special gift to the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday, we need to apply our divine love mind to see Ibogaine quickly legalized as a hypnagogic therapy tool instead of mislabeled and kept illegal as a psychedelic drug in the U.S. This is why iboga therapy will also be promoted by the American Peace March to the White House from Santa Barbara to the ending on November 1st next year, with many routes converging from city halls nationwide. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Steve Worthington, who will be followed by Stephen Fountain.
Good afternoon. I'm here with respect to the fee increases on the waterfront at the harbor. Across the board, up 25%. The Brown Act is pretty clear about notice. When you walk into the office, staff says everybody was given proper notice. No one I know on the waterfront knows anything about this notice, okay? It may have been met by a posting on a board, but it's not the intent of that act, and it doesn't look very good. Now, Dock Lines had an article last summer with regards to all fee increases, and the letter I got spoke to percent increases, and then when it got to slip transient fees, it said, and it's up only 50 cents. Well, that was on a dollar base per foot. So that's 50%. Another 25 was put on that. That's 75% in less than a year. Now, that is not good when inflation is 8 or 10. The normal increases for everything down there is about 3. The CapEx for the budget, it's the usual $2 million, looks good. There's a memo from April 20th that talks, April 20th, 2022, that talks about, it's a 9-pager that talks about balancing the budget down at City Hall. And that document is hard to find now. If you go on the city's website, you can't actually find it. But what it does talk about is all the fee increases recommended, and I guess went to committee here and was voted on. Nobody I know got any notice of that. But more importantly, the letter references the previously agreed per foot slip fee increases. When that meeting happened, I don't know. I can't find that either. And I can't find for this year, you would expect a similar letter about the 2024 fiscal. It's not there either. Now, I may not be looking in the right places, but it doesn't look real good. And hitting to the last thing, this is not a growth situation in the harbor. There's 1,148 slips. This is not General Electric reporting EPS and sales growth. That's not going to change. You might get more jet skis from LA. Problem is this: you don't grow something off the basis of a COVID year where everything spiked after 2 years. You don't build a budget on it. Maybe some people do. This always gets paid by the taxpayer, and 25% fee increases are too much, and 75% is out of hand for no discussion. Thank you.
Stephen Fountain. Stephen Fountain, followed by Denise Spangler Adams.
Greetings, council. Before I start, I wanted to say that it's great to be here for Americans Disability Act and accommodation. But if you don't enforce it, it's meaningless. My mom was 55 pounds with Parkinson's, my cousin a double amputee from the Vietnam War, and I'm hard of hearing. The last speaker, I couldn't hear a word he said because he wasn't speaking into the mic. So please, if we're going to have American Disabilities Act, please try to enforce it and ask everybody to be heard, because I would have welcomed to hear the last speaker. Anyway, I came today to address two issues related to State Street and political posturing, which are a concern to me. Doing nothing about State Street is unacceptable. I expect immediate action, and that's, yes, immediate action. The city manager is very capable, Rebecca Bjork. I don't think we've had anybody this experienced during my 43 years here. And I think it's time to demand results. The city's filthy, it's deteriorating downtown, and I will personally take up a scrub brush if you bring the fire department out with their hoses. I'll be out there, and then I'll be on your front steps with a rake and a blower, just because pride in our city is very important. And what people see makes people feel like we're part of this community. And I technically relate to Oscar Gutierrez and Representative Alejandra Gutierrez's districts, because working class people, we take pride in how everything looks. That's what we do. So I wanted to address that. My second concern is that we open up State Street to cars, that we create a 1 to 3 block promenade. For those of you who have been here for 3 years, 3 decades ago, Eli Luria, architect Barry Burkus, former council representative architect Gil Garcia submitted a proposal for a 3-block promenade. It was wonderful. It was well accepted. It had a Zocalo for group meetings. It was representative of what we all wanted, and we had lots of meetings about that. Whatever happened to it? And I say, no more money for consultants. Let's go back and look at these wonderful plans that we already have. I also wanted to address removing the ugly, unacceptable parklets. They're the ugliest things. They detract from our city. I haven't heard one person who likes it. Plus, they're in violation of the ADA law. Try walking up the street. It's impossible, combined with the street vendors, which is a different topic. I also want to ask you, would you consider bringing back the downtown shuttles? Because whether you're an elder or a mother with a stroller or you're a tourist, the shuttles were great and you could get places. So would you please consider that? I think by not doing anything, we're losing money, and I think there's political posturing, and I just wanted to address, we're watching you, Representative Sneddon, and we view that you have a lot of political posturing. If the mayor says one thing, you say the opposite.
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Ron Bjorklund is the next speaker, followed by Brian Rosen.
Good afternoon. I'm here to talk about the price increases at the harbor also. Also, I am a disabled veteran, Air Force veteran, and I think a lot of people in Santa Barbara think that Santa Barbara is only for the rich. The people in the harbor, they are rich, I believe. They can afford the slips, they can afford their $1 million, couple $100,000 boats. but the people on the moorings or the anchorage may not be as rich as most people in Santa Barbara, but they need a place to live. It's better for them to live on the boat than on the street corner. And I'm sure all of you can agree with that. But to raise the price 75% per foot to go into the harbor, especially during storms, you know, would you rather have a boat safely go into the harbor that they could afford to go into or end up on the beach? Just about every year, 2 or 3 boats end up on the beach, and that causes a big scene. It could cause diesel pollution, oil pollution on the beach, and that could be a huge scene. But to have this 75% increase, $1.75 per foot per day into the harbor is pretty extreme. You know, I know inflation is inflation, but not 75%. You know, that's beyond even the president's inflation. It's way beyond his inflation. So, you know, I ask that you get rid of, or even lower it. You know, when it was $1 a foot per day, that was okay. People could afford to come into the harbor. I could afford to come into the harbor. If I had some things I needed to fix on the boat, I was able to do that, but not at $1.75 a day. And, you know, it's just too extreme for a lot of people that don't have the money that most people in Santa Barbara have. And I'm one of them, and I'm sure a lot of the other boats out there are some of them. But, you know, the boats out there in the moorings and the anchorage, you know, they need a break so that they can safely come into the harbor and able to afford it, especially during storms. And last year's storms wiped out all the beaches. And, you know, I'm just asking for a little help for the boaters out there to be able to come in safely and able to afford it. Thank you.
Brian Rosen will be followed by Graham Martin Sotaro.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for your kindness, and I sense a lot of goodness in all of you and a lot of caring. I think you're all doing the best you can to make the city a decent place for everybody. The businesses, Randy Rouse is really working to make thriving businesses and restore State Street. I know that, and that's wonderful. And we want to take care of everybody's needs. And Oscar, thank you for your kindness. He made a call to the trustee on my behalf, trying to get my funds. We just sold this incredible property that, and I've gotten nothing because the trustee is holding on to it. And my sister recently sent me a letter. I'm still here. I have heart problems. It would bring a lot of ease to her. Well, this kind of thing is happening in Santa Barbara in the court system. It's not a good system, I think. A lot of injustice. It's all about too much about money. I don't know. Maybe we need committees to recommend for legislation. People shouldn't have to go broke protecting their elders, or elders shouldn't have all their rights taken away and put under terrible circumstances under the control of the court system, which too much justice is meted out. When I got my mom out of conservatorship, which happened in this town, she had lived a beautiful life to 93 and a half. And I took care of her, and I spent my own money after she broke her hip on the caregivers, and I cleaned the property out, and I cleaned the house out, and I emptied the furniture. I didn't get paid anything, and now I'm practically broke and I'm almost ready to join the ranks of the homeless. However, I have some tricks up my sleeve, so I think I'll be okay. But I've never had so much kindness expressed towards me in my life, everywhere I go. Nick Welsh and it's just beautiful. So I'm very grateful, and I hope this trustee and his attorney will help us. There's many other people in my predicament that I'm speaking with, losing everything to the court system. They spend all your estate money trying to delay giving you your inheritance or do this or do that. And then I have a property up north, but it's a complete wreck. The person destroyed it. It's unsanitary. I want to fix it up. I need the money. I'm going to fix it up and make some profit off of it. I'm a bit of a capitalist, too. So I want everyone to thrive. And Randy Rouse is trying to do this for downtown. You need to make an interesting downtown. I think it was Lewis Mumford who said Disneyland was a model where everybody can walk and they have the charming trolleys. You've got to make Santa Barbara interesting to the tourist and have a lot of interesting stores, but I'm diverting myself. It's not like it used to be. Anyway, I really appreciate it. I hope I can get this trustee to Will Jones, CPA, to release some funds, and I have a lot of people trying to help. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Graham Martin Sotaro, and followed by Clint Orr.
Good afternoon. I'm here again to ask you to revisit the recent budget increase involving the Waterfront Department on behalf of the patrons' lives who are directly affected by it. In accordance with the Brown Act, the marina patrons were required to have advance notification of the budget increase so we could properly deliberate our concerns, and that requirement was not met. The proposed budget fee increase memorandum for 2023 that is no longer available for review reveals an overall added revenue of $994,485 extracted from marina patron fees, almost $1 million, and we were not properly notified, and we want to know where all that money is going. It looks like there was a 25% increase for employees, where the rest of the city was only 5% increase. $750,000 for a new Harbor Patrol Radin that burned a fuel-burning boat when they already had one that worked. Why not get an electric vessel for when they drive around the marina with 3 employees looking for things to do while exhausting the resources that we pay for? Reducing the carbon footprint is something that the city of Santa Barbara is supposed to be committed to, which is why we suggest a sliding scale for visitor slips, 60-foot or larger yachts that pollute our environment could be charged more than smaller vessels. But really, we're asking you to reconsider the visitor slip increase during the winter season that jeopardizes our safety. We would like to see the rate reduced during small craft advisories when we park on walkways with no power to avoid the dangerous conditions. In regards to Patrick Henry, an overrated secretary whose speech was gloating on how the Waterfront Department operates as a team, throwing exploitive events like the 4th of July when our money is used to throw a party that pollutes our marine environment, inviting people from out of town to mob our beaches while locals avoid the closed streets, and the seafood festival where you can taste the flavors of dead animals we harvest from the sea for you to eat, so we can pay outrageous slip fees, permit costs, and taxes that pay the Waterfront Department's wages and 25-year pensions. I am a commercial fisherman here to remind you that we have to kill innocent marine life to pay for your increased budget that wastes our hard-earned resources to make it look like look like department employees deserve to be paid more, but do not do productive labor like we do. I presented you via email with a current lawsuit that I have against the Waterfront Department to review that exposes the hypocritical operations in which they neglect to uphold and violate Coastal Commission regulations, the same Coastal Commission laws on which the city municipal codes are based. What is more disturbing is how they act as an elite group, providing amnesty and special treatment to privileged upper-class business associates by making illegitimate decisions to go beyond their jurisdiction to aid the contractor in unlawful business schemes. I own multiple vessels and I'm only allowed one mooring. The vessel I live on survived on my mooring all winter through the storms. I did not bring it in due to high slip fees. The city mooring laws state we are allowed one mooring permit so that no individual can profiteer or monopolize the mooring field. However, contrary to that, they hypocritically allow one of 2 business contractor associates to do exactly that. I had more to say, but.
Thank you. Clint Orr.
Mayor Rouse and council members, yes, I am still running for President of the United States as an independent from Santa Barbara, California. Time is of the essence. I have 15 months and a week. I'll be pulling the 5,000 to the FEC by my birthday, which is in October. I'm looking at the different parties. The Independent American Party doesn't seem to really be answering the phone that well. They're in Washington, and they don't even have a meeting until March. I figure I'll be in the top 3 by March. So we're going to have to wait and see. I need valid signatures in 50 states. That's not a problem. And by 90 days before Election Day, that's the time I need. Now, how am I going to raise funds? Well, let's talk about that. I have a book out that's going to sell at least 1 million copies. I'm going to take $10 off of each one of those. It's called How to Dance with California Cowgirls. It's on Amazon under Clint Orr. And I'll sell at least 1 million of those. That'll give me 10 million to get started. And I'm also doing country dance and radio shows and things of that nature because I teach dance and I'm kind of on the radio when I want to. And I believe we can raise some funds from people of similar values, and there's a lot of, I don't know, I got a lot of friends in Montecito and down south in Hollywood and stuff like that. My travel, 2023 will be SoCal primarily. March 2024, the Dems and GOP collide, and I'll move around the 50 states at that time. My campaign will release weekly Q&A sessions, so my election efforts will be fun. My shows will be 30 to 60 minutes with music and entertainment, and everybody can get to know me. And if I'm successful, then I'll be in the Western White House and keep an eye on Vandenberg because this is Santa Barbara, and I don't want it blown up. It would make me upset. The news press folded. I want it back. I believe in newspapers. I don't believe in cell phones. I've never texted. You have to have a paperback. It's been here for 150 years or more or something like that. And I just think it needs to be here. You got the LA Times, you got the New York Times, and doggone it, we got to keep the news press. I feel strongly about that. And I will die trying to put the news press back into publication. I'm still working on Bella Scardo, everybody knows that. The gal mentioned earlier about cleaning up the streets. You should go over and look at Trey Loon out front. It's disgusting. Leaf blowers got to go. We have to get rid of leaf blowers. They poison the world. They poison my eyes. You can't walk the streets without leaf blowers. I can be reached at 606 Alamo Pintado, number 351, Solvang, California, 93463, for those that would like to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, very good. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers online?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, very good. With that, we'll go to our pulled consent items. We'll start with item 3. Mr. Friedman, I believe that was you.
Thank you. Just real briefly, I wanted to highlight this one because it is one of the more fun items that we get to vote on and very important, and because it was on the consent, I just wanted to bring it out there. And that was the approval for the funding for the Turner Foundation for the 8 affordable, permanently affordable or 90-year affordable covenants that are going to be units that will be created, and that's going to be serving the transitional age youth, so it's 18 to 24. And it also is a partnership with the county and the state housing community development. And it will also have another covenant of 55 years for the supportive services. And again, these are for some of our foster youth and others that don't have a lot of support, or in some cases no support, but they'll have 8 units of affordability. And just wanted to say this is a way that we can really keep those youth in our community and give them the leg up that they need as they're going into the late teens and early 20s. So I'm proud of our council and the county for supporting this. It was a partnership between both of us in the funding. So thank you.
Thank you, and I'd like to also give a shout out to Laura Doubles on this, as well as the Turner Foundation for bringing this forward. So it was a win-win, so appreciate that very much. I believe item 6 is Ms. Snedden.
Thank you, Mayor Rouse. I realize this came through at budget time and it's on consent, but I just wanted to make the comment that during the budget cycle, there was the 5% cut, which amounts to about $6,000 for the film festival, and we made that a permanent cut, and then within a month, we got the TOT coming in at 11 to 14% higher than projected. And for this one in particular, there's a nexus between the film festival and TOT revenue. So I just want to make the comment that perhaps for the next cycle, we would consider not making this a permanent cut and make it whole, because there is such a nexus between the income from the TOT and the film festival.
All right, very good. I should have asked this earlier, but I did not ask whether or not we wanted to vote on these separately. We did not vote on them before, so let's go ahead and vote on item 3, please.
Very good. If we can have a motion and a second for
I'll
item
move
3.
item 3.
I'm sorry, move and
Second.
second. Thank you. Freeman Harmon.
Very good. This is a motion by Councilmember Friedman, seconded by Councilmember Harmon for item 3.
Thank you. That passes unanimously. Very good. And congratulations. May we go to item 6, please?
And item 6, if we may have a mover and a seconder.
Yep, move in second. Anyone?
I'll move it.
Friedman?
Second.
Second by Gutierrez, Oscar Gutierrez.
Very good. This is for item 6, a motion by Councilmember Friedman, seconded by Councilmember Oscar Gutierrez. Please go ahead and vote.
Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, next time I'll ask in the front because I forgot to do that. Very good. With that, we will go to Councilmember Committee Assignment Reports. Ms. Sneddon.
Thank you, Mayor Rouse. I attended a COLM meeting, reception for the Congressional Woman of the Year, E.J. Bora. Congratulations, and just like to wish my mother a happy birthday.
All right, very good. And then Mr. Gutierrez.
Thank you. I attended an SB Act meeting. I met with the Turner Foundation to go over the project. I attended the Santa Barbara Fire Department promotions ceremony and attended Coffee with a Cop yesterday and the State Street Business Roundtable. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
All right, very good. Mr. Friedman.
I attended the Park Foundation meeting, the firefighter promotions, and also like to wish my mom, who's in the audience right now, a happy birthday as well. So happy birthday,
Happy
Mom.
birthday, Celeste. All right, very good. And then I was down at the San Ysidro Bridge yesterday, helping SBCAG accept some SB1 funds, $132 million to be precise, which was very nice. I'm still waiting for that last part of 4E, so Mr. Maurer there can get busy on things we're going to do here, along with our Los Patos Roundabout, the UP Bridge, and finally, sometime within my natural lifespan, an on-ramp southbound off of Cabrillo. So that's my fondest hope. But that was it was a good, very well attended by a lot of public officials, including our Congressman Salute Tarbell. And with that, do we have any council and staff communications or council engagements? Nothing at all. And with that, we may have set a new council record. We did this on Celeste's birthday for her honor. We got out early. Thank you, Celeste. Very good.